Hello. Yeah, okay, fine. Okay, so in yesterday's concept, so Munisar is completed up to the saving part. The database saving part is completed. So today we are going to discuss about the continuation part of this database concept. Okay. So in database, once I recall all those things, okay, so you already know it. So room database architecture. Okay, so this is your room database architecture. Okay, so this is your room database architecture. So in this architecture, so we need to use, so these are the functionalities. Okay, so that is the first one is entity. Okay, so the first one is entity, and the second one is a DAO class. Okay, second one is a DAO class, and third one is a room database, and the next one is a repository, and the next last one is a view model. Okay, so in previous concept, so repository and view model, these two classes is not created. Okay, so why? Because first of all, we need to cover up to this part. Okay, so only this normal database concept. So once we completed this normal database concept, so we will complete it up. We will complete it a repository part and a view model part. Okay, so when you are using this view model, so we need to use the live data. Okay, so for displaying the live data, we need to use the view model concept. Okay. Okay. So in coming to your project, so you already completed these all those things. Okay, so all this functionality is implementing, and you already completed up to the saving part. Okay, so now we need to retrieve the data. Okay, so I think so this is your output. Just wait a minute. I will connect my mobile device. So sorry for sorry for guys. So here my system is hanging. So the and I'm opening my emulator. That's why I'm closing my emulator. Okay, so now I'm running this application in my mobile phone. So, but I am unable to show the output. Okay, the screen share is off. Can say. So just wait a minute. So I will restart my system. So just wait a minute. Just wait a minute, guys. So my Android Studio is opening. So meanwhile, so the visor is not working in Linux. So I will show in another software for Linux. Screen copy. Stop. So anyway, we're completing up to this part. So that is a list, creating the list and creating the recycler view. So and after that, so in retrieve data method, so in we are storing this data in entities list. So after that, so we are implementing this recycler view manager with the help of set layout manager. And after that, so set adapter. So why? Because we are already, this data is available in our student adapter class. Okay, so in once you open your student adapter class, so in student adapter class we are setting all functionalities. Okay, so except the data binding. So that's why here I'm implementing the data binding concept also. Okay, so like this. Okay. Okay, so now all of you run your applications and check your output. Okay, so I'm running my application in my mobile phone. Okay, so previously I'm opening the emulator, so that's why my system is too much hanging. Okay, so now I'm opening this uh, in my mobile phone. So let me check whether it is now also it is working or not. So inside our adapter class, so we need to give the on click listener for delete option. Okay, so holder dot delete TV. So it is a test view. So delete TV dot set on click listener, set on click listener, new view dot on click listener, new view dot on click listener. Okay, so inside this on click listener only, so you need to execute this delete query. Okay, so whatever the query you are written inside your DAO class, this query you need to execute inside your adapter class. Okay, so you already execute this database in your main active.java file. Okay, so you already executed this main active.java file, this database. Okay, so no need to execute this database again and again. So we need to reuse this database concept. Okay, so you need to reuse this database variable. Okay, so inside your adapter class, if you are accessing this database, so we are unable to accessing this database. Okay, so the database class is available in our main active.java file. Okay, so with the help of main active.java file only, so we can access. So but at that time also, so I am unable to accessing the database variable. So why? Because it is a not non-static. So okay, so in case if you want to access like that, so first of all we need to change this database variable to static, or you need to create the object for your database. Okay, so here I'm changing the static variable. Okay, previously it is a normal variable, so now I'm changing this is as a static. Okay, so once you completed this static, so now you can check the help of main activity, so whether it is available or not. So main activity dot database dot student DAO. So now everyone is getting the database variable. Okay, so now database dot student DAO dot delete option, delete. Okay, so in the here we need to call this student entity class object. Okay, so here I'm calling student entity. Okay, so now just run your applications and check your output whether it is deleting or not. Okay, so I'm running my application. So now in my mobile phone I have three records. Okay, so when I'm retrieving the data, so I have three records. So when I'm clicking this delete one, so my data is deleted inside our database, but it is not updating on our UI. Okay, so let me check. So once I'm removing my application from the recent screens, so once again I'm opening, so my room DB. Okay, when I'm clicking this retrieve button, so now all of you observe, so the first record is deleted, so now it's displaying only two records. Okay, so when I'm clicking this so this UI is not displaying. Okay, so when I'm clicking this third record, so it is deleted. I'm clicking it is deleted from background. So I'm removing my recent screens by opening again, clicking this retrieve, so I'm getting only one record. Okay, so the database is deleted, but the UI is not updating. Okay, so this is the drawback of normal database. Okay, so in case if you want to execute this functionality with the help of a view model, so we need to get the live data. So that means when I'm clicking this delete button, so it is within the fraction of seconds the UI is updating. Okay, so we need to change according to like that. Okay, so in case if you want to change like that, so you need to do a few more modifications in your application. So that means so first of all we need to execute this database query. So okay, so whatever the query you are writing here inside your main activity, you need to write this query inside your database class. Okay, so inside your database class only. Okay, so inside your database class. Okay, so now all of you go to your database class, that is a student database. That is a student database. So create the instance of your student database class. Okay, so that is public static student database. So here I'm creating the database variable is database. Okay, so now I'm checking the condition. So database, when we are creating the database, so if the database is null, then only we need to create the database. Okay, so if the database is not null, so we need to reuse the database. Okay, so if, so I'm writing the condition. If okay, so the if condition is not working here. Okay, so let me check. So after creation of the method, we will check it. Okay, so public static synchronized student database. So here I am creating get database method. So inside the get database method, so here I'm calling contest. So now you can check whether the if condition is working or not. So if, yeah, now it is working. So database not equal to null. Sorry, database equal to null. If the database is equal to null, so you need to execute this query. Okay, so if the database is equal to null, you need to execute this query. Okay, so in main activity, so whatever the query you are writing, okay, so whatever the query you are writing inside your main activity, so just copy it and make it as a comment. Okay, so I'm copying this database query and paste it into your database method. Okay, so here everyone is getting error like this. Okay, so here in this everyone is getting error. So why? Because it is a helper class, so we are unable to read this contest. So that's why here the contest variable is available with you inside your get database method. So whatever the object you are created for this contest, just pass this contest variable here. Okay, so that is contest. Okay, so and after that, so if the database is null, you need to create the database. Okay, so if the database is not null, so what will happen? So just simply, so you need to return the database. Return database. Okay, so return database. Okay, so in your database class, so these are the modifications you need to do it. Okay, so please complete up to this part. So I will give the 2 minutes time. Okay, so all of you complete up to this part. Okay, so once you completed up this part, so we need to create the repository class. Okay, so we are so when I are executing these all queries, so we are unable to execute these queries on main thread. Okay, so we are unable to execute these queries on main thread. Okay, so we are unable to execute these queries on main thread. So that's why we need to execute these queries only in background thread. So if you want to implement this background thread, so we need to create the repository class. Okay, so without the repository class, we are unable to execute these queries. So okay, so now all of you create the repository class. Okay, so right click on first package, new, right click on first package, new Java class. Okay, so here I'm creating student repository. Okay, so repository student repository. Okay, so now this class is available with you. So all of you create one constructor. Okay, so how to create a constructor? So just click on alt insert, just click on alt insert. So in case if the particular keyboard is not working, so just right click. Here there is option called generate. Here there is option called generate. Click on it. So now you will get this option, that is constructor. Just click on it. Okay, so this constructor is available with you. Okay, so this is the empty constructor now. So now you need to change this constructor to parameterized constructor, so with application name. Okay, so inside this constructor just type application. Okay, just type application. Okay, so now we need to create we need to modify one more thing. So that is you need change this query. Okay, so all of you go to your DAO class. So when you are using the live data, so okay, so as of now you are using the list of data. So in case if you want to use this live data, so you need to change this query to live data. Okay, so before the list, just type live data. Okay, so the live data is a class. Okay, so live data. Okay, so inside this live data, you need to modify it. Okay, so we need to modify like this. Okay, so for your easy understanding, so I am pasting this code in your chat box. Okay, so please replace this query to this one, live data. Okay, so once you modify to this live data, so you need to create a variable for here live data and your database. Okay, so public live data list of student, sorry, list of, inside the list you need to call the entity class name. Okay, so here I am creating live data. Okay, so here I am creating the variable as a live data. So after that, so you create the object variable for your database. Okay, so public student database. So here I am creating the variable as a database. Okay, so now inside this constructor, okay, so you already created the one constructor. So inside this constructor, so you need to execute this database. Okay, so database equal to student database dot get database. Okay, so student database dot get database. So inside this get database method, so you need to call contest, that is application object. So application. Okay, so this is the way you need to execute your database. So with the help of this database, you need to execute this live data query. Okay, so live data equal to database dot student dao dot retrieve. Okay, so this is the way you need to modify your queries. Okay, so this is the way you need to create your constructor. So after that, see here, as of now we are executing the query, only read query is executing. Okay, so we need to execute few more queries like insert and retrieve. Sorry, insert and delete. Okay, so that's why we need to create the async task. So class, so here I'm creating the class name as insert task extends async task. Class extends async task. Okay, so in async task, so we need to pass three parameters, that is params, progress, and result. Okay, so the params is considered as a your entity class. Okay, so that is a student entity, comma, and the next one is progress. So it is a void, and the result also it is void. So why? Because in result, so we are displaying the result as on recycler view. So that's why you need to pass the result here. So once you're creating like this, so everyone is getting error. Okay, so just click on alt enter, so we have an option called implement methods, Okay, so once you click on implement methods, so you will get this pop-up dialog. So in pop-up dialog, so you will get this do in background method. Okay, so you will get this do in background method. Okay, just to click on okay, just to click on okay. Okay, so this do in background method is available. Okay, so now you need to execute this query, insert query, database dot student dao dot insert. Okay, so inside this insert method, so you need to pass this student entity class object. Okay, so this is array, this three dots indicates array. Okay, so the help of this student entities, so inside here you need to pass 0. So why? Because it is a array, so that's why here I'm calling the array index position. Okay, so same like that, so you need to execute delete query also. So class delete task extends async task, same parameters, student entity, comma, void, comma, void. Okay, so same pattern. So just to click on alt enter, implement methods, select do in background method. Inside this do in background method, you need to execute the database dot student dao dot delete query. So inside this delete query method, so you need to call this array object. Inside this array, you need to call 0. Okay, so this is the way you need to call, create this async tasks, insert task and delete tasks. Okay, so now we need to execute these queries. So as of now, we are just creating the queries. Okay, so we are creating the queries, but we are unable to execute as of now. Okay, just we need to execute this query inside these methods. Okay, so in case if you want to execute these queries, you need to create the methods. Okay, so for that, so here I'm creating the methods insert. Okay, so inside the insert method, so here I'm calling as entity class. Okay, so here inside this method, so you need to execute this query insert task dot execute student entity. Okay, so same way execute in the delete query also. Public void delete student entity, so new delete task dot execute. So inside this execute method, so you need to call the entity. Okay, so now we are executing the insert query and the delete query. So now we have one more query, that is a read query is also available. So in case if the read query, you need to create like this. So live data, so it is a live data, so that's why here I'm creating the live data method. So list student entity, so here I'm calling uh, read data. Okay, so here I'm calling the read data method. Okay, so here the return type, here I'm using the return type as a list. Okay, so live data list object. So in insert and delete it is return type as void. Void means it returns nothing. Okay, so it returns live data list student entity. Okay, so that's why that means it is a list of data. So we need to return the data. Okay, so return live data. Return live data. See, this live data variable is belongs to this global variable. Okay, so we already created this global variable as a live data. Okay, so that's why here I'm returning this live data variable. Okay, so this is the way you need to create your repository class. Okay, now we need to create the view model. Okay, so we need to create the view model. Okay, so here in our Java files there is no view model class is available. Okay, so now run your create new Java class. Right click on first package, new Java class. So here I'm creating student view model. Student view model. See, remember one thing. So when I'm creating this view model class, so this view model class should be extends with Android view model. Okay, this view model class should be extends with Android view model. Okay, so here now the Java class is created. So this class name should be extends with Android view model. Android view model. Okay, so this student view model should be extends with Android view model. Okay, so now click on Alt Enter, create a constructor with matching super. Okay, so create a constructor with matching super. Now everyone is rectifying that particular error. Okay, so once you're removing this error, so we need to create the global variables. Okay, so we need to create the global variables. Public student repository, and for live data also, live data list of student entity, live data list student entity, uh, read data. Okay, so here I'm creating the variable as a read data. Okay, so now inside this constructor, so you need to initialize these two variables. Okay, so repository equal to new student repository. So inside this student repository, it is expecting the application. So that's why here I'm calling the application variable. After that, so you need to execute the read data method. Okay, so read data equal to repository dot read data, repository dot read data method. So okay, so which is available inside your repository class. Okay, so that is the read data method is available. So that's why here I'm calling the read data method. Okay, so now we need to change three different methods. That is one for insert and another one for delete and another one for live data. Okay, so as we created as a previously. Okay, so public void insert. So inside the insert method, so I am calling the student entity class, student entity. Okay, so here we need to execute repository dot insert, repository dot insert. Inside this insert method, so we need to call student entity. Same like that. So we need to create the remaining things. That is public void delete, public void delete. Okay, so inside this delete method, so we need to call this student class student entity. This student entity. Okay, so repository dot delete student entity. Okay, so same like that. So you need to execute the live data query also. Public live data list of student entity get data. So here I'm calling get data method. So it is so when I'm creating the live data, so the return type is the live data of list. So that's why here I'm calling the return read data method. Okay, so why? Because I'm creating the global variable as a read data. Okay, so this is the way you need to create your view model. Okay, so whatever the operations you are creating, so you need to complete those operations inside your view model class. Okay, so now the main functionality is pending, that is so change executing the queries. Okay, so we need to executing the queries. Okay, so this is the part of view model. Okay, so first of all, in case if you want to execute these queries, so we need to initialize this student view model inside your main activity. Okay, so now all of you go to your main activity. In case if you are observed, so we are removing this database one. So why? Because we are using the live data concept. So when we are using the live data concept, so we need to implementing the live data related concepts only inside your main activity. So the rest of the other parts, so you need to removing it. Okay, so in case if you're observing, when I are using this database queries, so each and every one is getting the errors. Okay, so you need to modify these queries. Okay, so we need to modifying these queries. Okay, so how to modifying these queries? Before that, so you need to create static variable for your student view model. Static variable for your student view model. Okay, so here I'm creating static view model. Okay, so after that, so you need to initialize this view model. Okay, so you need to initialize this view model. Okay, so inside your onCreate method, inside your onCreate method, view model equal to view model provider dot provider dot yes, it is not working. View model providers dot just wait a minute. Okay, so anyway, so new student view model, insert this student view model, see this is not a right syntax, just wait a minute. View model provider Android accelerated lifecycle version model providers. Okay, see view model provider only the right class. View model provider dot view model provider dot get inside this get method. You need to call your view model class, that is student view model dot class. Okay, just wait a minute. Why I'm getting this error? Add explicit type arguments. Okay, so please respond. So from your end also, everyone is getting the same error. Please tell me. No one is responding. View model providers dot of this. Okay, so when I'm writing this line, so I'm getting error like this. So just click on Alt Enter. Yeah, okay. Okay, so view model equal to view model providers dot of dot get student view model dot class. Okay, so we're writing the correct syntax. So what happened here. So anyway, so right click on here, just click on alt enter. So here there is an option called add dependency on Android X life cycles. Okay, so here there is an option called Android add dependency. Just click on it. So I think this dependency is adding to your project, if I'm not wrong. Okay, this dependency is adding to your project. Okay, so with the help of these view model concept, so we need to execute these queries. Okay, so make it this say database dot d student dao. So this line make it as a comment. So because we are changing the queries. Okay, so make it as a comment. So with the help of view model, so we need to execute the queries. Okay, so view model dot insert vmodel dot insert. So inside this insert, so you need to call entities vmodel dot insert. So same like that. So you need to change this query. We need to change this query. So make it as a comment. So here I'm writing vmodel dot live data method, that is get data dot observer. Observe is the method. So inside observe, so we need to call like this comma new observer list. Okay, so new observer list. So when I'm using this observer, so each and every time, even in the fraction of seconds, it will observe the data. So whether the data is removing or whether the data is inserting, whether the data is updating or not. Okay, so this functionality is observer in this view model. Okay, so that's why here I'm creating as a observer list. Okay, so inside this observer list, creating as like this. So inside the observer list, the unchanged method is available. Okay, so inside this unchanged method only, so you need to call these two lines. Okay, that means a set layout manager and set adapter. So these two functionalities you need to execute inside this unchanged method. So just simply cut and paste. Okay, so cut and paste. So now everyone is getting the error. So why? Because so one for in this, so it is a the this keyword is not working here. So why? Because it is the when you are using the this, so the context is coming from this unchanged method. Okay, so but I don't want to do like that. So I'm getting the context from main activity. So that's why here I'm calling main activity dot this main activity dot this. And one more thing, so here also, so main activity dot this. Okay, so we need to change a few one more modification, that is data. Okay, so the data is coming from a global variable here now. So but I don't want to do like that. So I want to change this variable to inside the unchanged method variable. Okay, so inside unchanged method variable is student entities. So it is the object of list of student entity. Okay, so we need to use these student entities, so then only we will get the correct data. So okay, so instead of entities list, so we need to change student entities. Okay, so this variable is available with in our unchanged method. Okay. Okay, so we are changing the two queries, that is insert query is changing and read query is also changing. Now we have one more query which is available in our adapter class. Okay, so now all of you go to your student adapter class. Okay, so here we need to change this query. Okay, just to make it as a comment, this is the delete query. So we need to change this query. So main activity dot view model dot delete. So inside the delete, so you need to call your student entity. Okay, so previously we are executing these queries with the help of database. So that's why so we are unable to perform the live data. So but now here we are performing the view model. So okay, so here we are executing these all queries with the help of view model. Okay, that's why here we are performing the live data. Okay, so just now, is there any modifications required? Okay, so no need to do any other modifications. Okay, just run your applications and check your output, so whether the data is displaying or not, or whether the live data is displaying or not. Okay, so it takes some time. Okay, so when I'm clicking on retrieve button, so I'm getting only one record. Okay, so now I'm using so I want to insert so one more record, so that is Sai and roll number is 1. So I'm clicking save button. Okay, so when I'm clicking save button, so it automatically the UI is updating. Okay, so here I want to change my name to Sai Shankar and ID as 34. Okay, so ID is 34. When I'm clicking save button, the UI is automatically updating. Okay, so no need to change, no need to click on retrieve also. Okay, so when I'm clicking this first record, that is 4567, the name of Shankar record. Okay, so when I'm clicking on this delete one, delete. Okay, so when I'm clicking delete, the UI is automatically updating. Okay, when I'm clicking Sai, the UI, Sai record is also automatically deleting. Okay, so in case if I want to insert once again, 345, clicking on save button, so the data is saving. Okay, so this is the way you need to execute your view model concept. Okay, okay, so this is all about room database with view model. Okay, so if you have any doubts, so you may please ask. So you can freely to ask us. So we are ready to rectify your issues, your problems. Okay, so I think no issues. Okay, Okay, so this is informing to that. So I think your workshop is completed. Okay, so your workshop is completed. This is the last concept of your workshop. Okay, so this is the last concept of your workshop. I hope you are enjoying this workshop. Okay, almost we are spending the 4 weeks time. Okay, okay, so I hope you are enjoying these workshops. So thank you to all. If you have any doubts, you may please ask in our WhatsApp group also, and uh, you, uh, you can personally message also. So we will respond your doubts. Okay, so thank you to all. Have a good day. Yeah, class is completed. See, the test and the remaining parts is take care of our head office team. So don't worry. So we will our team will communicate with your WhatsApp groups. Okay. So thank you to all.